We all have a natural tendency to protect the things that are valuable to us, right? We insure our homes. We keep our kids on those backpack leash things. We cover our grills to protect them from the elements. When we run into the store to get milk and eggs, we lock the doors on our Lamborghini. Data is a valuable asset. It needs to be protected. Companies are increasingly dealing with cyber attacks. Cyber attacks are an attempt to gain access to an individual's or organization's information system. Now, the purpose of these attacks is usually to make money. Some of these cyber attacks involve malware, which is software that breaches our information system through some kind of a vulnerability. Once outsiders have control of our system, they may use spyware to gather and transmit our data to external parties, or they'll destroy or corrupt our data with computer viruses. Ransomware has grown in popularity recently. Ransomware is where they block access to our own information systems unless we pay some kind of a ransom. So hackers, for instance, recently have been attacking hospitals' information systems and keeping the hospital from using their own patient records. Now, for hospitals, this is literally a life and death situation for their patients. And so it has become very profitable for hackers to use ransomware. Phishing takes place when hackers disguise their identity in order to get access to a system. So I've received emails in the past from my credit card company that said that there were issues with my login and that I would no longer be able to use my credit card. No worries. The email says so as long as I send in my username and password, they can restore access right away, right? It's not really my credit card company. This is an example of phishing. Companies face the same kind of attacks. And the end game of all these attacks is to get inside the organization's information system. Hackers want access. Another cyber attack is a denial of service attack. This occurs when hackers overwhelm a company's information system with requests to process information. Let's take a website that facilitates online gambling. These companies need users to have access to their site in order to make money. Hackers may use a denial of service attack where thousands of computers attempt to log on to the network, which effectively keeps the paying customers out. The end game here is often that the company must pay off the hackers in order to run their business. Now, what can organizations do to protect themselves against cyber attacks? Well, there's a number of things that we can do. We can use vulnerability testing to identify where the weak spots are in our security. We can take this a step further with penetration testing. This is where companies hire ethical hackers to try and hack into their system. And some of these ethical hackers even specialize in breaking into the buildings, right? They're very good at picking locks so that they can access the information system from the inside. These hackers make a good living protecting companies by identifying areas of concern. We can also use biometrics to keep hackers out. Perhaps we use fingerprints or facial recognition to have access to the system. These are much more difficult to circumvent than passwords. We might use firewalls. Now, we're probably familiar with firewalls that keep us off of certain websites while we're at work, such as Facebook or shopping websites. Well, they also work in reverse by monitoring the incoming traffic and preventing access to our information system to individuals who don't have the necessary credentials. Finally, companies need to have access controls to prevent unauthorized users to get into our system, right? So this includes passwords, PIN numbers, dual phone authorization, and even physical barriers. If we have very sensitive information within a company, we may require that users are inside the building in order to access that information. That's a great control. Now, companies need to find ways to protect their data by using some combination of these controls. It can be very expensive to put these controls in place, but ultimately, companies cannot afford not to put these safeguards in place. Hacked systems can result not only in data loss and corruption, but also in a loss of reputation and litigation costs. The risks of cyber attack has only increased in recent years as hackers have developed ever more sophisticated means of getting access to data. Now, it's not all doom and gloom. It can certainly be done. It just takes a concerted effort and a culture of making cybersecurity a priority within your organization.